Two, and we are recording episode 670 with Mr. 670? Yeah, 670 with Mr. 670, 760. 760 is miles per hour of the speed of sound. 670 is millions of miles an hour of the speed of light. I always remember that. Not important because that's not what we're talking about today. Mr. Paul Adams, who was on here last, we were just talking about that Think May. And shout out to my friend Bethany, who is the one that originally had me reach out to you to have you on this podcast. And your website, No Jab for Me. And you were for several months. You were my most viewed Rumble episode at
Right.
24,000. And unfortunately, you were eclipsed, but you're still in the top 10. But
Well,
Mr. Adams,
thank
please
you.
introduce
Thank
yourself.
you so much, Thomas, for having me back again. It's amazing how things work out. Sometimes you think it's all over, and just then there's like a wind on your back, a
Mhm.
divine intervention, whatever you want to call it, that keeps pushing you forward, and things happen. Unbeknownst to you, they happen. We were just discussing briefly here before we got on the air how back in May of last year, Twitter had suspended me, and my website, nojabforme.info, was primarily relying on Twitter to get, the viewership. And for some reason, the website all of a sudden became viral without Twitter. People were talking about it in the Alex Jones show. The High Wire Dale Bigtree talked about it. I had somebody call me up. They said, Dr. Tenpenny, she mentioned your website. She calls it the Bible of vaccine info. Ignore at your own risk. I said, what? and, and within a period of 3 weeks, there was over 1.2 million views, and the word got out. Now, the website back then only had maybe 300, maybe 400 links that I had done research on, but now it's over 550 links, and I think I'm going to stop there. It is a very well documented, researched website, and I do it out of love more than anything else. I care. I care about humanity. I care about children. I care about dislocated families. I care about unemployed people. I care about, all the propaganda that's out there, belittling us, demonizing us for being um, anti-vaxxers. We're not anti-vaxxers. I believe in vaccines. I
Yeah.
believe in tried, true, tested, safe vaccines. Please understand. That's what, the whole Nuremberg Code and the trials that ensued were all about. It was about give us a choice and give us indications that the risks are not over the top, the benefits outweigh the risks. But now what we're seeing is, and we're going to go through this. I've got some notes here I'm going to share with you. What we're seeing is there's a preponderance of evidence that's showing that these jabs are not safe. They're anything but safe. So even if they were the best thing, the next best thing since penicillin, you still have a right to refuse to take on this medical intervention.
100% informed consent, and
It's
you have to be able to. You're allowed to just say, "I don't want it." You're allowed to say that.
exactly, exactly. There should be no coercion, no any kind of pressure, any removal of your rights to enjoy, your employment, to enjoy your education, your association with others, to transact, to travel. None of that should be taken from you because you decide, well, I don't want it.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, there's some things here that I've
Sure.
researched that I want to share with you because uh,
Yeah, take it away. I'm in the passenger seat. I'm
are you
we are
okay?
in we are in Paul we are on podcast right now.
Okay, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the damage these injections have caused. Um, there have been roughly 21,000 deaths in 2021 from the COVID-19 jabs in 1 year alone. Okay. This is verified, confirmed, corroborated. It's in VAERS. The VAERS numbers show it. Just to put this into some perspective, the total number of deaths in the last 30 years for all vaccines combined are a total of 1,227. Do you see where there's a bit of a problem here? 1,227 total number of deaths in the last 30 years for all other vaccines, but in 2021, we have 21,000 deaths by COVID-19 jabs. Do you think maybe there's a problem there, Joe Biden? Rochelle Walensky, do you ever research these numbers, Fauci? I mean, do you guys even do this? I mean, this is part of your job description. You realize that, right? I mean, you're telling us that you're part of the, you know, the CDC's Center of Disease Control and Prevention. It's more like Center for Disease Spread and Transmission. That's what this is all about. And now Walensky says that 75% of the vaccine deaths had preconditions. Oh, really? You do not say. All of a sudden, you're looking into the real causes of deaths, when back in March of 2020, March 24th, 2020 to be exact, you issued out a directive to all medical practitioners to ascribe the cause of death on the death certificates, and part one of the death certificate as COVID-19, irrespective of any tests or autopsies, on the mere assumption, that's in bold text, by the way, on the assumption that somebody may have contracted COVID-19. But now all of a sudden you're telling us that these vaccinated people are not dying from the vaccines, they're dying because of preconditions. Get your story straight. You're wobbling all over the map, and your credibility is totally out the window. You've lied to the American people one time. You're impeachable. You're an impeachable witness. You have no standing at all. Zero, zip, zilch, nada. It just boggles the mind, okay? So for those of you who do not know what the hell exactly is this mRNA gene therapeutic, let's rehearse for you again, okay? This is what the doctors are telling us. This mRNA injection will not just sit quietly in your arm, it will spread throughout your body. It's like D-Day. It's 30 trillion small molecules going throughout your system. And what they do is they direct your cells to start producing the pathogen in the form of a spike protein. There's no off switch for that. You are a pathogen generator now. It will not stop. There's no antidote for that. So the spike protein will accumulate into your body and eventually will cause you ADE, antibody-dependent enhancement, or autoimmune diseases. Your body will start fighting off its own cells when it encounters another virus because it cannot cope. And you will die. This is what the prediction is. The animal studies have shown that time and time again. The animals have died. Now, you can also kiss your life insurance policy goodbye, because the death benefits are not going to come to you because you have been jabbed with this experimental mRNA vaccine, and life insurance companies will not pay off.
Is that true? That's something I actually didn't know. That's true.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's what's going on. You can corroborate it.
Okay.
So don't get mad at people like us. Get mad at Congress, okay? At the White House. Get mad at the father of the vaccine. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. Warp Speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get mad at those people because they keep telling you time and time again that these jabs are not going to harm you. They're telling you nobody's dying from these vaccines. So you even have now the former CDC director, Robert Redfield, who is now a senior health advisor to Maryland Governor Hogan. 45%, he said, of all deaths in hospitals are of the fully vaccinated. In Israel, we have the same kind of story. 80 to 90% of hospitalizations are of the fully vaccinated. A CEO of an insurance company in Indiana said there's a rise in deaths from a year ago. It's not a 5% rise or a 10% rise. It's a 40% rise in deaths. It's unheard of.
And he said, I do believe he also said a 10% rise is something that you would see in a once every 200-year catastrophe, freak, tsunami, volcano, earthquake.
Right,
That would be 10%.
right, right. And let me not get started with the adverse events on pregnant women. Okay, because all of a sudden the CDC and all the states have websites for these jabs, and they have, instructions on what to do, what not to do, who is eligible, who is not. And they always tell pregnant women, you're safe. You can take these jabs. When in the clinical synopsis of these clinical trials for Pfizer and Moderna, it was stipulated explicitly that breastfeeding and pregnant women were to be categorically excluded. You never test something like that on a pregnant woman. And we've got now 4,800 pregnant women reporting adverse events related to COVID vaccines, including 1,533 reports of miscarriages and premature birth. You even have the head of the Biological Health Threats and Vaccine Strategy at the European Medicines Agency, EMA, Marco Cavalieri, his name is, warned that the Wuhan coronavirus booster shots are a dangerous prospect and not something that we can think should be repeated constantly. Even the WHO has said so much. You cannot shoot your way out of a pandemic with booster shots. In fact, the more shots a person gets, the weaker his immune system becomes. And it's been confirmed time and time again by clinicians, by doctors, by labs. They're telling you your immunity, your natural immunity is being deteriorated, degraded, destroyed at a rate of 5% per week in some cases.
Jesus.
Until you've got none, until you've got zero immunity left. So this is the grand deception. It's definitely a depopulation agenda disguised as a health incentive to cure us from a pandemic that was contrived from day one with all kinds of magic numbers. Let's talk about the death numbers. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of death numbers because we have stipulated that every case is to be a COVID-19 death. And then you change the word asymptomatic, you change the word cases, you change the definitions so that your agenda can roll forward, you see. Asymptomatic was never the driving force of a disease, of a pandemic, and even Fauci has said so much in a briefing. But they changed that all of a sudden. So now it's the asymptomatic who are spreading the disease, don't you know? Because they're testing positive with this PCR test that is 95% flawed, gives 95% false positives because of the excess cycles it goes through. Anything over 25 amplification cycles, forget about it. Even Fauci has said so much.
It's like taking a high resolution image, a great 4K image, and zooming in, then going, look, it's pixelated. And you're like, well,
yeah. Oh, no kidding. Yeah,
yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's an Ansel Adams photo. It's an 8K resolution. It's a Hasselblad from the moon. And it's like, well, no, we zoomed in 600 times. You see the pixels?
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's like going into a wool factory and saying to somebody, Can you pick me some lint here? I want to know if there's any wool in the factory. So it goes, and people don't realize that there's all kinds of incentives for hospitals to enumerate COVID-19 cases.
Mhm.
They're paid $13,000 for every COVID-19 admission, $39,000 for every patient they put on a ventilator. And that's just the beginning. There's more to that. There's an added bonus for each COVID-19 diagnosis, another bonus for the admission to the hospital, a 20% boost bonus payment from Medicare on the entire hospital bill for the use of remdesivir instead of any other therapeutic like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. There's another large bonus payment to the hospital if a COVID patient is mechanically ventilated. I already mentioned that. More money if the death is listed as COVID-19, even if the patient did not die directly of COVID-19, and also a bonus to the coroner for designating the death as COVID-19. Okay, so what do you think the hospitals are going to do with all those kinds of incentives?
Yeah,
They're going to sit back and say, "Oh no, it wasn't COVID-19. It was tuberculosis. It was influenza." No, they're
yeah,
going to do that.
yeah.
No.
Don't get mad at the dog for chasing the bone.
Right.
You put out a fiduciary incentive. Yeah, yeah. What do you think's gonna happen?
Okay, so let me get focusing a little bit here on remdesivir. I just discovered this information here recently. There are 67 controlled studies, first of all, on ivermectin's effect on COVID-19 that show a 67% improvement in COVID patients, and over 298 hydroxychloroquine studies that show a 64% improvement in COVID-19 patients. You would think with that kind of a backdrop, with those kind of studies out there, that the scientific community would be chasing after ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, that the politicians would be all over the hospitals instructing them to use these proven therapeutics now so we can save lives now. No, instead what? In 2020 in April of 2020, Fauci says remdesivir is to be the gold standard. Nothing else, remdesivir. Now, when you check into remdesivir, there was a study done in the treatment of Ebola in December of 2019. And they used 4 drugs, including remdesivir. And just to get to the nitty-gritty here, remdesivir was administered to 175 patients. Guess how many died?
110.
1 out of 10?
No, 110.
Oh,
110.
1 day. Oh, 110? Okay. You're pretty close. 93, 93.
Hey, not something to cheer about. I don't know why I'm excited. I'm happy that I got the number close. Not that I'm cheering for that. Makes me look terrible.
93 out of 175. That's 53.1% died. Okay. For patients with a high viral load, 64 out of 75 died. 85, that's 85.3%. And yet they administer remdesivir on patients, which has the effect of shutting down their kidneys. You get kidney failure with remdesivir. And then there's a chain of events that follows, because once you have the lockdown of your kidneys and you cannot excrete, you start accumulating fluid in your body. You get edema, and that creates pulmonary edema. And the only thing you can use to treat pulmonary edema is intubation. You have to put somebody in a ventilator. And 9 out of 10 intubations result in death, according to Bloomberg. So you see how that works. We got remdesivir, proven to kill 53.1% of patients in that Ebola study. It induces kidney failure. The kidney shut down. Now we have edema, pulmonary edema. Now we put the patient on a ventilator. 9 times out of 10, the ventilator will kill that patient.
You ever, another terrible analogy, me and my brothers used to go to this casino and play roulette, and it was like you just poke the buttons, right? And it
Yeah,
was just, you could just, what do you want? Black, red, or do you want evens? Do you want odds? Do you want 2 through 20? And every once in a while, you just hit a bunch and you get them all at once, and then you light up and you're like, you won $2, $8, $16, $110. And you'd hit them all and you'd be like, I did it. Use remdesivir, put them on a ventilator, and they die. Ding, 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 ding. It's just,
yeah,
hey, but it's the chips are rolling, but again, at the cost of human life. But yeah, it
right.
seems like a well calculated evil, but well calculated financial gain.
There's every indication, and there's other clues I'm going to allude to here in a minute, but there's every indication that this has been a very well rehearsed, planned genocide. There's no other way to put it. They have picked all the metrics, all the ingredients to create death, to cause death. Now, let's ask ourselves, whatever happened to the seasonal flu? Remember, people used to get the flu? You'd stay home for a few days, I got the flu. I'll be back on Monday, sir. I'll be back to work or back to school. And we are here, flu is where people are symptomatic. It's symptomatic. Like back then, we had asymptomatic people that, oh, you're not showing any symptoms. You must have the flu because you tested positive. No, it's not like that. That's not how we were working back then. You had the symptoms of the flu, you were symptomatic, and you had either influenza A or B. So whatever happened to the flu? Because over the last 10 years, the flu numbers, as far as cases, ranged anywhere between, 8 million to 33 million a year.
Is that globally or US?
In the US.
Okay.
In the US. And I've got these numbers from the WHO here. I got a chart. Okay. 2019, 2020, there were 30 million cases in the United States. Okay. How many cases do you think were recorded in 2021?
What were the 2019, 2020 numbers?
2019, 2020 were 30 million cases. Even if there were 20 million cases.
Sure. And I know, it was, I know that I'm not going in completely blind. I know people said it's been dramatically 8 million.
No.
1 million.
No.
500,000. 100,000.
No.
10,000.
No.
1,000.
You almost hit it. 1,675.
I mean, come on. What's that percentage? Down from 30 million to 1,600. So 1,600 times 1,000 would be 16 million, times 2,000, 32 million. So now it's down to 1 out of every 2,000.
Does that make any sense at all to you? I
No.
mean, to anybody out there who's listening to this,
It
would
make sense if we hit a technological singularity and the vast majority of humans were uploaded into a silicon brain and thus weren't humans anymore, and a few remaining got the seasonal flu. That's about it.
Well, the CDC in its own website has an explanation for this. The simple explanation for this is that the masks and the social distancing and the hand washing took care of the seasonal flu. That's why we went from 30 million to 1,675.
Then why the hell did COVID spread?
There you go. You know how many cases we had in 2021 for COVID? 60 million cases. 60 million cases, come and get it. And that's from the faulty PCR test that provide you with false positives, 95% of the time. And who knows what else, just to pump the numbers. It makes absolutely no sense that you can have 60 million cases of COVID, only 1,675 cases of the flu, when the previous year you had 30 million cases of the flu. Okay, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this bullshit 1 second. Okay, you want to peddle this shit to a kindergartner, maybe, but even a 5-year-old would tell you this does not make any sense at all. So any organization, that has lied this much to the public is de facto decommissionable. I mean, it should not even exist. Yeah. It should be completely taken down, and we need to reboot, restart the whole system. Now, some backdrop here on this whole COVID-19 plan, because it was a plan to begin with. And we've done the research, and there's documents, and there's websites that provide the evidence. It's not just me blowing smoke. The last thing I want to do after all this is to come out as somebody who is blowing hot air, okay? That I'm pulling stuff out of my ass. I don't want to do that. I've done the freaking research. And when I tell you this is how it is, this is how it is. And I am exasperated by some of these lawyers and doctors who are not mentioning these facts. If a guy like me living in his freaking van can do all this fucking research, why can't you sitting in your freaking villa do the same kind of research? Huh? Because
I think the answer is they have. I'm not on board with a lot of people say, how are they so stupid? I don't think they're stupid. I think they're maliciously competent.
Of course they are.
That's Occam's razor is they, if you and I can figure it out, you and your van, me and my little apartment, if we're figuring it out,
right,
they know it. They're not, it's a little kid going, how does everyone else still believe in Santa? How do my parents believe in Santa? Santa can't go to 100 million homes in one night. Well, hey, no kid, hey, your parents know it too.
Right. No, here we have a document from 2017. A document from 2017 from the World Integrated Trade Solution, which is a division of the World Bank. Big website. It was distributing COVID-19 test kits throughout the world in 2017.
What?
In 2017, in its own website, it says 2017. We are distributing these medical assessment packages, or whatever they call them, but for COVID-19, specifically for COVID-19.
That seems like the biggest smoking gun out there. I need you to email me that specific link so I can put it in the description for people.
I will definitely do that. I'll be more than happy. In fact, I've got a video. I've got a video of the whole website. So then here's what happened in 2016. If we want to go back to 2016, and the Governments of Canada's website, canada.ca, there is a mention there of COVID-19. They were trying to procure, it was hand grenades and pepper spray, I believe, for COVID-19 when uprisings would start, etc. Now that's minor. It's not huge.
Sure. They're always preparing for uprisings. They're always wargaming this. Is it COVID-19? Is it a George Floyd scenario?
But they mentioned COVID-19 in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you have the October 15, 16 of 2019 meeting. It was called the Vaccine Safety Net Workshop by the WHO. What's interesting about that particular meeting, and they've scrubbed it down. I still have the the screenshots of that website. But what they said within that website is, for the first time ever, 4 WHO divisions, UNICEF, CDC, Gavi, member states, technology companies, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, Microsoft, and Google, academia, and VSN members were all in one room to strengthen ties, paving the way for collaborations to surface trustworthy, science-based, high-quality vaccine safety information in the digital sphere. Does that strike you a little bit odd that all these people would be gathered in one room in 2019 to discuss all this? And this coincides, by the way, with the event 201 that was sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, okay?
Well, and then 2 years prior, SPARS.
There was SPARS and ClavX by John Hopkins. So anyway, you have a confluence of events here that point to only one thing: a premeditated pandemic. There's no other way to describe it. So imagine if there is no way to fight COVID-19, and I came to you and I said, I've just got a new therapy here. It's not going to prevent transmission. It's not going to prevent infection, but it may, just lessen your symptoms a little bit, just a little tiny bit, but then also your immune system will erode at a rate of 5% per week, but that's neither here nor there. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. You think you would step up to the plate and take that kind of intervention, medical intervention?
No, I'd say get the fuck off my property. Darted? What are you talking about?
You'd have the shotgun ready and you'd be chasing me out down the street.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know what you're selling. I'd probably just somehow assume you're a pedophile. That's where my mind would go to. I'd be like, I don't know how it all ties in, but you're after the kids. That's where I would go with it. It sounds too much like, hey kid, you want some candy in this van full of puppies?
My answer to that kind of a proposition would be
the no button. For everybody listening, he has a no button. but that's where we are. And you see the goalpost. You will not get COVID if you have this. Okay, you might get it. You will not go to the hospital. Okay, well, you won't spread it. Okay, well, if you won't spread it as much. Was it Alan Berla, the CEO of Pfizer? Didn't he say like a week ago, 2 shots provide little, if any, direct quote, little, if any, protection?
That's all you need to know.
And if you quote the CEO of Pfizer, I'm already banned from most of social media, so it doesn't matter for me anymore.
Oh yeah,
you'll get suspended if you even upload the video of him talking. Even just don't put anything in the comment. Don't be like, hey, look at this asshole. If you just clip it and upload it, don't say a word, just upload it.
Albert Bourla, who is the CEO of Pfizer, and who has a thick Greek accent, like he just stepped out of the boat. He was on an interview and he said that the reason I'm not taking the vaccines is because I don't want to create this impression that I'm cutting into the line, and that's how he thinks. Okay, this guy's
you could maybe make that pitch in the first days of rolling it out. You could maybe make that pitch and it will look like good PR. But man, we're now mandating people to get the 3rd shot. I mean, come on.
I mean, just wrap your head around this. Okay, this guy is putting out billions of doses of batches out there, but he does not have the wherewithal to find himself just 1 dose for himself, okay, to protect his family, because after all, it's about protecting your family too. If you don't get injected, you're a nuisance to the rest of the world, to your community, etc. Blah, blah, blah. That's the propaganda they're putting out there. He says, well, I'm not in the front line, so I do not have, the kind of exposure that other people have to COVID, and therefore I do not qualify.
Well, I maybe there's a little solidarity because I feel the same. I do a podcast from my apartment. I don't want to cut in, man. There are a lot of people that until everyone in the world is vaccinated, I will carry this cross. I'll carry it. I'll get it last. You can call me a patriot, you can call me a saint. You don't need to. I'm just doing my job. But I'll get it last. I'll let Burla go before me. I'll get the last shot. That's what I'm here for. With the power of God behind me, guys, I'll do it.
I admire people like you. You're true blue American.
Flag shuddering behind me. This is what this country was built on. No, you go first. I don't need it. I don't need a parachute. You jump out first. I'll get the last one.
I'm going to go a step further and say, Albert Bourla, you take not only the first shot, the second shot. I want you to take all the other booster shots that are coming. Take them ahead of everybody else. Just do that.
Maybe if he does that, maybe that will reduce vaccine hesitancy.
Maybe,
I think he could even be more of a hero.
But here's the problem lately that's been surfacing, these batches that they're sending out throughout the world, okay? They're not all alike. I mean, you would expect that quality control is the number one issue with a vaccine. You want to make sure that all the batches are uniformly the same, that they deliver the same posology, the same, impact. They have the same, everything is the same, everything. But not with them. No. Each batch number has different effects on people. Some batches are more lethal. Their lethality is greater than other batches.
And for everyone that thinks Paul and I are speaking out of our ass, episode 643, I believe, of this podcast, as well as 642. 642 is with Dr. Aditi Bhargava, the head of mRNA research at UCSF, which is pretty much the Harvard of the West Coast. I know I failed to get in there when I was applying to medical school. And then the following episode, 643, was with Dr. Malone and Dr. Aditi Bhargava, and this is exactly what they talked about, was there was no even distribution of the size of the lipid nanoparticles, and thus the distribution matrix of the mRNA molecules. So there's something like a 30 to 90, if I might be getting it wrong, 30 to 90 times difference. Maybe it's 3 to 9. Regardless, they are nowhere near uniform, and it's off by an order of magnitude.
The other astonishing thing is that if you were to spread out the data on a timeline, you would see that certain batches that were distributed at certain intervals are more deadly than others. In other words, they would say on the first week of April, we're going to distribute the less lethal batches. On the second week of April, we'll distribute the more lethal batches. And so you have these spikes in the adverse events and the deaths for certain batch numbers. And the attorney, Reiner Fulmick, I don't know if you heard of him. He's very much involved in preparing lawsuits. And he says this particular fact alone of these batch numbers varying in their lethality based on the time that they were distributed is proof positive that there has been a concerted effort to determine which is the most lethal way to create a genocide, to depopulate the world.
Stagger it.
Yeah. So there's a wonderful interview of him just recently on the 15th of January, I believe it was, that was broadcast. And he does reiterate a lot of the things we talked about. His first contention was that the PCR tests are completely flawed and irrelevant. And therefore, the whole thing is a scam. Because without that, you have no case, you have no pandemic. So let's remember here that the Nuremberg Code is the gold standard. It's the benchmark. Every medical association ascribes to the Nuremberg Code. Informed consent is the kingpin. I mean, you cannot pass go without informed consent. And for crimes against humanity, the penalty is always death. There is no way of cutting corners. Any way you slice and dice this, you cannot get by saying, oh, well, we didn't know that there was no Nuremberg Code. Well, ignorance of the law is no excuse either. You have to make sure you fully understand it. And one thing that I have done on my own accord without any legal advice, because very few lawyers want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, let me tell you, is that I have created notices of liability for crimes against humanity to be issued, served, presented to any establishment, whether it's a restaurant, tavern, club, gym, theater, school, place of employment. And that notice of liability advises the recipient that they will be named as accomplices and perpetrators in crimes against humanity for aiding and abetting in these horrific crimes where people are being pushed to inject themselves with experimental mRNA gene altering therapies, information packages without their informed consent. So tinyurl.com/NOL444 is the URL. You can go and download the NOL and then tailor it to your specific needs. That's the least I can do. That's the least I can do. People need to be put on notice. You have no right to be pushing us into taking any kind of experimental device, and you cannot be at the same time beaming from ear to ear as you deprive us of our liberties. There's no way, okay? And if push comes to shove, I see red. So I have no problem whatsoever in taking back liberties that our progenitors have fought and paid for dearly. And the millions of others have died in World War II just to give us some liberty, you know.
Establish the Nuremberg codes.
Right.
They've already been paid for in blood.
They've been paid for in blood. And this generation, I'm sorry to say this, I call it the Starbucks generation. You know, they're lined up every morning at the Starbucks to get their little bottle, you know, their little baby bottle, you know, to warm their little tummies up. You know, you need to wake up. Wake the fuck up. And that's all I have to contribute today. If you want to discuss something else relevant.
Sure. We got a couple more minutes. So what I always like to say to people is, you know, there is something you can do. And it's very, you know, if anyone that's listened to this podcast, even relatively regularly, knows the analogy I'm going to use. But it's like if there's a huge storm, right, and knocks out power and there's branches everywhere, like, sure, I mean, you do kind of have to wait for the linemen to put the power back in, you know, you don't want to get electrocuted. There is some heavy lifting work, but you can go out there, you know, with a broom and start, you know, just getting twigs off the sidewalk. If you see a, you know, a log or a branch that's fallen on a car, like, you and someone else can move it off. You can start doing something. Or maybe a little more relatable would be just trash. Just walk into the gym, see a, you know, I'm not saying touch it and get hep C, I don't know, but, you know, put a glove on, put something on, pick up a cigarette, pick up a styrofoam cup. You can put something in the trash can. It's little, it's tiny, but it helps you be removed from learned helplessness. I can't do anything. Some Elon Musk character or the government needs to come in and clean this. No, you can go get one of those trash picker uppers and you can walk around and start doing your part and start doing a little bit. and you feel like you're doing something, right? Many hands make light work, where you can just a little bit at a time, you can all do something. You can do something, whether it's just enlightening yourself, or hell, you could even take time out of your day and try to prove us wrong. Try to prove Paul wrong. Try to prove me wrong. And if you prove me wrong, I'll happily have you on here. Do something. And if you can't find a way to prove us wrong, all right, learn about it. Okay, what else can I do? And obviously, there is a direct conflict of interest because this is my podcast, but don't just do it with mine. Do it with any episode on any podcast about this, Rogan,
Right.
Aubrey Marcus, whatever. Share it, put it online, put it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, Gab, Parler, whatever. Okay, well, Tommy, if I do that, what if I get banned? There is still an effect. You got banned. Now, other people in your direct orbit, maybe your buddy, your college roommate, they're looking at you and they're going, dude, why'd you get banned? Like, you're the most milquetoast guy I know. You go, I just posted an interview with the inventor of the mRNA vaccine. You've now red pilled them. Every little thing you can do, it does have an effect. You might not see it, but
Right.
it's like,
The thing is that uh, obviously there's a torrent of information out
sure,
there. Torrent. There's just too much to digest all at once.
yeah,
And when you get into the research part of it, and you start figuring out, what happened from day one or 10 years ago, it's going to take time, and you'd have to take your time, do it slowly, don't
sure.
rush it. It's going to hit you. It's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, because all of a sudden your whole worldview is going to be crushed.
Mm-hmm.
What you thought was the truth, what you thought about the government, what you thought about Biden, about Pelosi and the rest of the gang, Fauci, is all of a sudden false. Okay. This is not the first time we've seen this movie played out, by the way, some of us. We've seen it happen before with the swine flu, with H1N1. They use the same tactics, the same playbook to get people to fear the virus, to wear on the masks, to take the vaccines, and then the injuries. Then we had the injuries and the lawsuits. So it's happened before, except this time it's more than just another episode. This is about resetting the whole system to a new world order where everybody's tracked digitally, where you're in the internet of things. Your every thought is monitored, your movement is monitored, everything, your finances, your health, everything. So this is what they're aiming for, they're pushing for, and it's their last chance. I mean, it's their last little window of opportunity, and it's crumbling. They know their narrative is crumbling.
They're going for it. They're going for it.
And these are the kind of people that will not back down ever. They will double down, triple down, whatever they have to do. They'll even start a war. They'll do whatever they can to distract our attention from what the facts are. So be ready, because they have no conscience. These are sociopaths. These are people that have no empathy, no feelings of remorse, no feelings of having ever done anything wrong, because for them it's for a higher good. Don't you know? The higher good is a planet with a smaller population, where they have better control of the population. The smaller the number, the better the control, and they can enrich themselves in so doing. They can, well, after all these billions of people die, guess who's going to own all this property that they've left behind? I wonder who would that be. So it's a very nefarious. I'm not going to get into the spiritual, metaphysical aspects of this polemic, because it's really not even worth discussing at this point in time. There's so many other facts that you have to focus in on, zero in on. But I will say it, because they even claim it, that there is a Luciferian agenda out there, and they're taking great pride in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, they try to hide it. I mean, even here in LA, we've got Lucifer's Pizza, for crying out loud. And Nike came out with these shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes. They know how to subliminally, sprinkle us with the facts so that they can program us slowly to accepting the new reality, as it were. They do it in subtle little steps. It's a huge psyop operation. There's many limited hangouts, controlled opposition, whatever you want to call them, all the way from pastors to educators, you name it. So that's it. My website, nojabforme.info, is also a companion to a new website now, covidfear.com, but .exposed. covidfear.exposed. It's got a lot of social shares in a matter of since December 24th, over 1,000 shares. So I'm doing my part. I'm creating little videos. They're up on Rumble. I will never stop. This is not going to end just because I've had this little nice interview with Thomas here. It's it
As
just,
as Zev Zelenko says, this is the hill.
this is the hill I'm going to die on.
They're coming for your kids. They're saying that you can't belong in polite society. They're otherizing people. They're trying to make us a two-caste system. This one's it. There's a lot of things where you can go, yeah, and that one's not for me, but this one's here. And my next guest just entered the waiting room. So
okay.
Mr. Paul Adams, thank you so much. God bless you, sir. I'll email you when this is up, and I'll put all your links in the description. Till next time, my man.
God bless you.
God bless you as well. Thank you so much.